What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and we're just only basically under 24 hours away from Game 1 of the World Series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Houston Astros. Basically, the entire week I have been antsy all week because it just feels like, oh my god, there's like really nothing going on. Yeah, we got the Phillies, yeah, we got the Flyers and all that stuff. Not the Phillies, we got the Sixers, we got the Flyers and all that. But it's just like, it doesn't feel filled right now. 4 days off, it just doesn't feel right. I want some baseball. I want some World Series action. I want to see Game 1. I want to see first pitch and everything like that. Like, I've been antsy all this week. Like, I get these moments where I'm just thinking to myself, oh my god, it's almost Friday. We're almost close to the World Series. We're almost close to first pitch. And I'm just like shaking because I'm getting excited just thinking about that. Thinking about Nola taking Game 1 at Minute Maid Park against the Houston Astros. I can't wait for Kyle Schwarber to see the first pitch of the game at 8:03 p.m. against Justin Verlander. And I can't wait to see Citizens Bank Park once again in a World Series type of atmosphere. Because, oh my goodness, that is going to be even more electric than it was in any other postseason series this year. Because, right now, Citizens Bank Park is showcasing itself like a true home field advantage, and oh my god, it looks absolutely amazing at that point. But it's going to be a very tough task for this Phillies team. The Houston Astros, they are definitely no joke. They are definitely no slouch. They are coming into this World Series undefeated. They basically have not lost a single game in I would say over a month at this point. I think their last win or their last loss was against the Phillies when the Phillies clinched the wild card spot back at the beginning of October when the Phillies were celebrating on Minute Maid Park's field, celebrating their postseason berth. Nola going 6+ strong innings of almost perfect baseball. Kyle Schwarber hitting 2 bombs. Bryce and Zack going deep as well. Phillies clinching that game. And then the next two, the Phillies weren't playing their starters. Ranger Suarez was pitching basically on a hangover, and the Astros did their business. And basically since then, the Astros have not lost the game. They sweep the Seattle Mariners in the first round of the ALDS. They sweep the Yankees. And also in the first game of the ALDS against the Mariners, they come back down from that large deficit. Yordan Alvarez with that huge walk-off home run to basically, I would say, make sure the Mariners are never going to win another game in this series, because honestly, at that point, when the Mariners had that game under control, the Astros are coming back. Bregman goes deep, then Yordan goes deep in that 9th inning. So basically proved that the Mariners were not going to win, especially with that long-ass Game 3, which ended on a Jeremy Pena home run. And then they go in the Yankees. The Yankees fans were begging them, we want Houston, we want Houston. And what did the Astros do? They swept their asses. They swept their asses right out of the ballpark. Ticket prices in New York and Yankee Stadium were insanely low. They're celebrating in the clubhouse with brooms and everything like that, sweeping the Yankees out of there. Basically just not even trying at that point. And for the Phillies, no one expected them to get this far. Not even Phillies fans. No one expected us to get this far. We were basically the last team to clinch a postseason spot. We were basically hurtling until the end because, losing 10 out of 13, starting with that road trip, getting swept by the Chicago Cubs. Even though not to dwell on negatives, the Phillies' reason they're in the postseason is because, the Milwaukee Brewers didn't have a backbone. They lost 3 out of 4 to the Miami Marlins, but hey, the Phillies clinched a postseason spot. They stole Game 1 of the wild card series against the Cardinals after they blew up in the 9th inning. And then they shut out with an Nola gem in Game 2 to sweep that, move on to the NLDS, and then beat an Atlanta Braves team that just looked like they didn't show up. The Braves, the Phillies, waxed their ass. That's basically the summary of that entire thing. They go after Max Fried in Game 1, score all those runs playing small ball. Ranger Suarez struggled, but he bent, but he didn't break. Didn't go deep in the game that you wanted to, but the bullpen managed to shut it down, even though Zack did give up that 3-run shot in the 9th inning to make it very closer. Nick Castellanos making that great play out in right field, and then managing to get the final out there. You lose Game 2, but Zack Wheeler was still very good. Basically, the only reason you lost that game was because of the, Rhys Hoskins error at first base. Then you go into Game 3 back at Citizens Bank Park. Place is electric. Braves decide to use Spencer Strider. You're going with Nola. And Spencer Strider, after he's gunning 97 to 100 in the first 2 innings, you can tell that velocity is going down because he's coming off of that injury. Allows a couple of guys on base, allows the first run of the game. And then, you know what? He throws a meatball down the middle of the plate, 93 miles an hour to Rhys Hoskins, who crushes it. And then Bryce Harper goes deep eventually. The Phillies managed to win that game. And then they go into game 4, Thor on the mound. Brandon Marsh goes deep, JT inside the Parker, Bryce Harper with the icing on the cake. Phillies close out that series. Sir Anthony putting the Braves to sleep. Going to the NLCS. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, game 1. Zack Wheeler dominates. You lose game 2 after blowing a 4-0 lead. Aaron Nola definitely didn't have his best stuff. But you come back for game 3. You win a nail-biter against Joe Musgrove. Schwarber going deep. Bowman, Segura coming up clutch. Ranger Suarez pitched really good in my opinion. Bullpen shut it down. Go into game 4. You knew your offense was going to have to win that game. Bailey Falter going on the mound definitely probably wasn't the best choice out of Rob Thompson to start that game. He allows, 4 runs in that first inning to start the game for the Padres. Phillies respond. Rhys goes deep, 2-run shot off Clevenger. Bryce scores another run, makes it 4-3. And then the Padres go to the bullpen. Phillies keep adding on. Bryson Stott ties it, but then Brad Hand gives it the lead right there to Juan Soto. But the Phillies keep fighting back. Sean Manaea out on the mound. Rhys Hoskins going deep. Then more home runs. More home runs off of more home runs. You got Bryce Harper with a 2-run double to give the Phillies the lead. You got Kyle Schwarber going deep. JT going deep. And the bullpen shut it down. Game 5. Zack Wheeler dominates. Rhys Hoskins with another home run. On a hot streak. Zack Wheeler taken out. The rain's starting to come down. Padres start to come back into the game. They take the lead off of Sir Anthony Dominguez, who clearly wasn't able to grip the ball in the rain. Was definitely a factor there. But then the Phillies respond once again after, getting shut down in that 7th inning again. They come back in the 8th. Jose Alvarado gets the job done in the 8th as well. But then you come back for the 8th. Suarez is on the mound for the Padres. JT leadoff single. Bob Melvin decides not to go to Josh Hader when he's warming up in the bullpen, basically ready to go. Not to face Bryce Harper. And Bryce Harper, with the swing of his life, to make it bedlam at the park, puts the Phillies on top. David Robertson has a shaky 9th. In comes Ranger Suarez. He gets the job done on 2 pitches, and the Phillies win the pennant. You got 2 teams here in the World Series. One team that's basically is a juggernaut. Unbeaten. Basically on another world right now. They look unstoppable. But then you're coming up against a team that no one expected to be here. That are riding hot. They were shaky coming into the playoffs, but this team believes in one another. And when they started believing in one another, especially Rob Thompson bringing that belief into the clubhouse, they started winning games. The 1-2 punch of Aaron Nola and Zack Wheeler have been really good for them. They won a lot of games this postseason with Aaron Nola and Zack Wheeler on the bump. Ranger Suarez has provided some nice depth, and your bullpen guys have been coming up big when you need them to, especially guys in the back end like Jose Alvarado, Zach Eflin, Sir Anthony. Those guys have been coming up good for you. Even like some guys like Noah Syndergaard giving you some good innings. So, it's an interesting World Series. An 100-plus win Astros team going up against an 87-win Phillies team. Right now, a lot of the, sayers, the baseball analysts and reporters out there, a lot of people are saying that this should be an easy series for the Astros, but I don't think this series is going to be easy at all for both teams. Because what happens when the Phillies win one game? What did the Phillies win tomorrow when the Astros, not having lost a game in so long? How did they respond after that? But then also the Phillies with the Astros, the Astros are basically a very complete team. Great offense, great pitching, starting pitching staff, a lot of depth there, and a fantastic bullpen. They're basically a very complete team, probably one of the most complete teams in baseball. They're healthy coming into this World Series as well. Basically, the only guy that they don't have, I believe, is Michael Brantley. But they can easily replace him. We got a young guy at shortstop, Pena, winning ALCS MVP. They like Carlos Correa walk and instantly replace him with Pena. It's like night and day at that point. So, I think this series is going to be closer than people think. But, I'm still not going to make predictions. That's not what I do. I take it game by game. Tomorrow, first pitch, 8:03, you're going to have Aaron Nola going up against Justin Verlander. Aaron Nola getting the call. He talked about it today during the, media day, saying that as, the final out was recorded, he hugged Rob Thompson. And Rob Thompson automatically told him, you're going game one. You're going game one in Houston. And Aaron Nola's known it for basically these past 4 days. We just didn't know when the starting rotation was going to be announced. The rosters, I would assume the full rosters for the World Series are most likely not going to be announced tomorrow. So we're not going to probably know anything for that, but we know game one is going to be Aaron Nola. We know game two is going to be Zack Wheeler. Aaron Nola hasn't pitched basically since last Wednesday in San Diego when they blew the 4-0 lead and he didn't have his best stuff. He's going to have a lot of rest coming into this first game. I'm sure he's going to be very amped up to go. Remember that last time when he was in Houston, he pitched, basically one of the best games of his life to help the Phillies clinch a postseason spot. I'm sure he's going to be amped up to try to do that again. It's going to be a tough task, though. Still very tough Astros squad. Yordan Alvarez, the Beast, Jose Altuve, Pena, Tucker, Gurriel, Bregman, even guys in the bottom of the Maldonado. There's a lot of guys in this Astros lineup that can kill you. Maybe some of the main guys aren't doing. I know Bregman's been fantastic this entire postseason. I think Altuve didn't get his first hit until the 4th game of the ALCS, so he was cold going into that. Is he going to still be cold, especially with his layoff? That's a lot of questions. Yordan hasn't been the best really in this entire postseason. His biggest moment was that walk-off home run against Seattle, but really since then it's been nothing from him. Bregman's been basically god tier for them the entire postseason. So there's a lot of question marks maybe surrounding their offense right now, but they really haven't had to do much because the Yankees really just showed no fight at all. Astros barely had to break a sweat against them. So that's there. Now, what did the Phillies do here? Because your guys were hot in the San Diego series. Your guys were insanely hot. Schwarber found his swing. Rhys was going on a hot streak, the hot streak that we haven't seen all year. Bryce is on another level. JT is playing good baseball. You're 1 through 4 guys. And Nick Castellanos, yeah, he does come in through some time to time. He had that 2, big double or big single that went off the second base bag in that game, in game 4 against the Padres. He did have some moments in the Atlanta series too, but we really haven't seen a full consistent Nick Castellanos yet. Is that going to happen? I don't know. But Nick Castellanos might be important because with the way Bryce Harper is batting and the way he's on another level, are the Astros even going to pitch to him? That's the question mark there. And if Bryce Harper is not going to get pitched to, that's going to give a lot more opportunities for Nick Castellanos. And if Nick Castellanos finds his swing, that might be some news, some terrible news for the Astros there. If the Phillies bats continue the way they're going, the one thing that does concern me is the 4-day layoff, even though both teams have to deal with it. Because, Schwarber was finding his swing, Rhys was finding his consistency, Bryce is on another level, basically all of that. Is the 4-day layoff going to affect someone? Who knows? Who knows? Both teams have to deal with it. That's the bottom line. It's going to do wonders for the pitchers because they definitely needed a lot of rest, especially for the Phillies. But the Astros pitching is definitely no joke either. But I don't think that scares the Phillies. Because the Padres, even though the rotation definitely doesn't compare to the Astros or anything like that, the Padres had a nice 1-2-3 in their rotation. Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, Blake Snell. Phillies beat them in 5 games. The Padres bullpen coming into that series, they were the best bullpen in the entire postseason. And the Phillies came to bat in that game 4. They managed to, hit against some of their bullpen pieces, especially some of their main guys. And also you can credit Bob Melvin for not bringing in Josh Hader in important moments. He only pitched 1 inning in that entire series. Suarez didn't give up a home run to a lefty all season. Bryce Harper takes him deep. So, I don't think the pitching scares the Phillies. You just got to find a way to hit them. Got to find a way to get in their head. And can you do that against this Astros team? Like I said, this team coming into this series is undefeated. We all know this. If the Phillies find a way to break into that, Do they catch the Astros off their heels a little bit? That's a question mark there. It's going to be a tough series, no doubt. No doubt. Because we all know where the Phillies' flaws are. The depth in the rotation is not there. It's very top-heavy with Aaron Nola and Zack Wheeler. Ranger Suarez has definitely looked a lot better since that first game against the Braves. Looked a lot better. So, again, you have a good game against Houston, especially, maybe a little revenge after the game where he had the hangover after they clinched the wild card spot. Maybe you want some revenge for that. Bullpen, definitely not as deep as the Astros. I don't think a lot of bullpens are as deep as the Astros. Your main guys, basically, are the guys in your back end. Alvarado, Sir-Anthony, Zach Eflin, and David Robertson. Those are your main guys right now. If you need a guy to come in early in the ball game, it's Andrew Bellotti. Maybe you throw in a Connor Brogdon there eventually, but that's really only it. Maybe you see Noah Syndergaard get a start in Game 4 possibly, because I don't think Rob Thompson's going to throw Billy Falter out there anymore. Most likely it's going to be a Noah Syndergaard, because I do not see Kyle Gibson touching him out either. So, right now it's your 1, 2, 3 of Aaron Nola, Zack Wheeler, and Ranger Suarez, and then the fourth starter, most likely Noah Syndergaard for maybe 3-4 innings, and then you go to the bullpen, and then you go back to Game 5, Aaron Nola, Zack Wheeler, Ranger Suarez. So, a lot of things coming into this. Even for the Astros, Dusty Baker, he's looking to finally get his first World Series ring as a manager. There's a lot of that riding on him too. You got the Astros basically going to the World Series, what is it, like 4 times since 2017. This is their 4th time since then. They won it in 2017, regardless of all the scandals and all that stuff. They won in 2019, lost in 7 games to the Washington Nationals. They lost in the ALCS to the Tampa Bay Rays. They lost the ALCS in 2018 to the Boston Red Sox. So basically, from 2017 to now, they've been to at least the ALCS 4 times the World Series. So they're the team that runs the American League right now. They went to the World Series last year. They lost in 6 games to the Atlanta Braves. And now they're coming up against another NL East team, the Phillies. Another team that no one expected to get to this far. 2019, no one expected the Nationals to get that far. Last year, no one expected the Braves to get that far. And now it's the Phillies' turn. Can they make that magic happen? It's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of question marks. A lot of it. Not a lot of it. And I'm not going to guess anything. I'm not. But I think we all know the most important thing you got to do. It's basically the same thing going into the NLCS against the Padres. And basically the same thing in the NLDS against the Braves. You got to split the first 2 games. You got to at least split the first 2 games in Houston. You got to win Game 1 or Game 2 to set you up for home field advantage back at Citizens Bank Park. Because right now it's showing that crowd, how electric it is at home in South Philly. It fuels the guys. It fuels them a lot. So if you get that first win, either Game 1 or Game 2, Aaron Nola, Zack Wheeler on the bump, you set yourself up for home field advantage. You do. You have a good shot to win one of these 2 games. You definitely do. Like I said, it's still no easy task. The Astros have not lost a game yet. But am I confident the Phillies can win one of these 2 games with Aaron Nola and Zack Wheeler on the bump? Most definitely. I am very confident in that. They can win at least one of these games in Houston. Definitely confident in that. But you got to do it, though. Got to take it game by game. Pitch by pitch. Inning by inning. One pitch at a time. And this Phillies team, they want to bring it back for South Philly. They believe in one another. 4. In that clubhouse. Rob Thompson, hired as the interim. Phillies going into this, starting the season 22 and 29. Rob Thompson gets hired. Phillies go on that unreal run. Bryce Harper goes down with an injury. They keep winning. They struggle in September. They backstop their way into the wild card spot because, the Brewers helped them. And the Marlins helped them, honestly, for beating the Brewers. But basically, since then, maybe whatever weight was lifted off, what weight was on their shoulders, lifted off them. They got into the playoffs. They're getting hot at the right time. Their bats are clicking. They're hitting a ton of home runs. It might be more tougher against the Astros because the Astros, they're a team that does not give up a lot of home runs. So that's something there. You got to win one of these 2 games in Houston. You definitely do. It's mandatory. And I'm very confident they can win one of these 2 games. Either game 1 or game 2. Because like I said, you win one of these 2 games, you set yourself up for home field advantage. But it's still going to be a very tough series. I'm not predicting anything. Because this series can go either way, honestly. It really can. You can make arguments for both of these teams to win this series. For the Astros, they're just a juggernaut. The way they're built to contend every year. They're built to make a World Series every year. Postseason runs. It's the way the roster is built. Credit that to the front office and everything like that. For how much reshape they had to do in that front office after the whole scandal, they still find their ways to win. They still find their ways to be successful, get to these runs in the postseason, and find themselves in World Series. So you got to give credit where credit is due. Argument for the Phillies. Some people might want to see black magic. Getting hot at the right time. Everyone's clicking. They believe in one another. They're buying into the underdog mentality. And that's something that's Philadelphia's built around. We all know the Eagles' Super Bowl run. They were underdogs in every single game with Nick Foles as the quarterback. Philadelphia basically went with that entire mentality, the underdog mentality. And that's what the Phillies are right now. This city thrives off that mentality. We're starting to get that connection with this ball club. And we're seeing that every time they play at home. That's why it's so important to win one of these 2 games in Houston. Because right now you're unbeatable in Citizens Bank Park. It might be more tougher against the Astros. But still, any team coming into that atmosphere, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough with that Philly crowd. Because no one's really experienced that for a while. Maybe teams forgot what it was like. But that atmosphere is no joke in Citizens Bank Park. It's no joke. The Phillies feed off that. And I think that's, what's sparking them. And you got some leaders on this club too. Kyle Schwarber won a ring with the Cubs. Basically leading that entire group. A lot of people are comparing, a lot of Phillies in their front office and all of the media compare him to Darren Daulton for the 90s teams. Basically, he just walks in and you basically knew he was the leader. He's the guy that runs the clubhouse. People answer to him. You got Bryce Harper getting to his first World Series on an amazing run that he's been. With the way he's swinging. With how much he struggled in September. The way he's found his stride right now. It's special. It is special what Bryce Harper is doing. Special. The clutch hits. The home runs. What he's trying to do to help this team. It's special. Rhys Hoskins. We're seeing a swing from Rhys Hoskins right now that we haven't seen basically since, he came up in his rookie year. Hitting all of those home runs. Are we getting that Rhys Hoskins hot streak that we've been craving for basically this entire season because he really hasn't done it all year? That consistently. Are we finally getting that from Rhys? And hopefully, I hope this 4-day layoff doesn't really affect that. And I don't think these guys are thinking about it. They're prepared for this. They enjoyed them, the day after clinching the pennant and all that. They start preparing for it. It's basically a one game at a time mentality. They know what the stakes are. They know people are doubting them. They know people don't believe in them. A lot of people think the Astros, it's going to be a cakewalk for them. Use that to your advantage. Use that to your advantage. Show the Astros you're no joke. Show the Astros you're not the Yankees. Show that you're not going to die and back down. That you're going to be a difficult out. That you're going to fight till the very end. Okay, you're a team that doesn't like giving up home runs? Fine. We'll find ways. We'll find ways to win. And if you make those mistakes, we're going to crush it. We're going to send it 500 feet out of the ballpark. Find ways. We're going to show you that we can find ways to win. Whether it's our pitching, whether it's our hitting, and whether it's our back end of the bullpen. Who we're going to throw out there one day for an important inning, depending on the matchup. You got Jose Alvarado. You got Seranthony Dominguez. Who are we going to throw out there in the 9th inning? Either one of those two guys, or if those two guys are used early in the game, go to a savvy vet like David Robertson, or you go to a guy that, didn't expect to be in this position either. Zack Eflin. Or you throw out a Ranger Suarez, who clinched, got the final 2 outs against the Padres in Game 5. So that's something right there. But yeah, I just can't wait. I can't wait for first pitch. I'm just so excited for it. So excited. I can't wait for it. I can't wait to see Aaron Nola on that bump. I can't wait to see this offense, showcase what they can do on the national stage in the World Series. I can't wait for it. I'm sure we're major underdogs coming into this. There's still a lot of people that are doubting us. I believe in this team. We all believe in this team. I think it's going to be a good series. Like I said, I'm not predicting anything, though. I'm not predicting anything. I'm going to take it one day at a time, but I'm confident in our chances. But I'm not going to say anything because this series can go either way, in the Astros' favor or in the Phillies' favor, or it's going to be a tight series. That's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tight series. I don't think one team's going to have this easy. It's going to be very tight, very close, very evenly matched. I wouldn't say evenly matched, but close. That's basically what it is. So, yeah, I can't wait for every single second of it. I can't wait to see Bryce Harper. Can't wait to see what Bryce Harper does in his first at bat. Man, can't wait. I can't wait for everything. I just can't. I'm seeing some of the quotes right here. John Clark posting from Media Day and everything like that. Got Dave Dombrowski talking, saying he has goosebumps about what's about to happen. This is the World Series. This will be seen around the world. This is different. Talking about, with everything after the NLCS. Talking about Aaron Nola when he was talking about Rob Thompson, saying that he was going to go Game 1. Talking about Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber told, take it all in, enjoy it, because you don't know when you're going to get back here. Biggest thing is to enjoy it and get ready to compete. Words from Kyle Schwarber. Then you get some Bryce Harper. I think it's personal for all of us as a team being able to get the Phillies back and where they are destined to be from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 08, and 09. It's been a long time since we've been here. Being able to get us back, it's been personal for all of us. These guys want to win. These guys want to bring the trophy back to Philly. They want to parade on Broad Street. They want to party with this city. And I think they're destined. Right now, because this ride that the Phillies are on, it's kind of magical. And we got to see where that magic goes. But like I said, it's a tough task with the Houston Astros. They're undefeated coming into this World Series. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be a very close series. It's not going to be easy for one single team. I don't think that. It's going to be very close. But the most important thing this Phillies team needs to do, they need to win one of these 2 games in Houston. Either Game 1 or Game 2 to set yourself up for home field advantage in Citizens Bank Park. Halloween, first game back in Philadelphia for the World Series, Game 3. Halloween night. I don't know if you can script that any better, honestly. Being prepared to go into November baseball. It's going to be like 70 next week, though. November baseball, 70 degrees. When I think about November baseball, I'm thinking about like 40 to 50 degree weather. Now we're getting 70s. But yeah, it's the most important thing. You got to win Game 1 or Game 2 with Aaron Nola and Zack Wheeler on the bump. You got to do it. You got to find a way to split. And if we're looking at the Astros starting rotation just for this series, it's not fully announced, but I would assume for the Astros, if I look at basically their entire rotation from the NLCS and everything like that, just to try to see, I want to see who started this game for the Astros in Game 4. I think it was McCullers that started for Game 4. But you got, Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez, Javier, Lance McCullers. I'm trying to think who would be their 5th starter for the Astros. Luis Garcia. So they got a lot of depth in that rotation. Verlander, Framber Valdez, very good 1-2 punch, but then you got a lot of depth down there. We saw Lance McCullers this year in the game we won the wild card, or clinched the wild card berth. So we're familiar with that. But think it's time to prove a lot of people wrong this series. One game at a time, boys. It's one game at a time. And that's the most important thing. So, be prepared, everyone. Basically, under 24 hours from now, 8:03 tomorrow night, Friday night, first pitch World Series Game 1. None of us expected that we were going to be in this position, but we are. But we are. Cherish it, enjoy it, because this is what it's about being a sports fan. For these moments, for diehard sports fans and all alike, the diehards, the casuals, it's what it's made for. These type of moments, enjoy every single second of it. So, I think that's where I'm going to call it for tonight. Gonna be back tomorrow night, recapping Game 1. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Aaron Nola on the bump. Justin Verlander. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Rhys, Hoskins, JT. Getting their crack in the World Series. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So, that'll do it for tonight, everyone. Oh, actually, let me check for the comment section, see what you guys are talking about here. See Mr. W. Still can't believe, so nervous. Shout out the Marlins. What's up, BJ? How are you doing, man? Yeah, baseball is definitely a weird sport. Pena is nuts. I hope we have some sort of prospect down there that ends up like him one day. Don't count out Bryson Stott, man. Don't count out Bryson Stott. Maybe he sees Pena getting all the attention. Maybe Bryson Stott has a chip on his shoulder this series. Maybe you get a Bryson Stott breakout. Astros were in the National League like 10 years ago. Yeah, they were. Hopefully the Astros look like the Braves in this series. Let's take it day by day. Astros have destroyed the Yankees teams. They are 13-2 against them, and that's how good they are. Justin Verlander is 0-6 in the World Series. Don't change that. Phillies. Astros are so unfair. I feel like no one actually talks about how consistent they are. They're just a well-run organization. That's basically it. They're a well-run organization. Take it, Brian, how you doing? Take it one game at a time, one player at a time, and let's see what happens from there exactly. If the Union wins Sunday night, can you come and talk about how them playing Sunday Night Alpha? I don't talk about soccer. It's just not my thing. Soccer really isn't my thing. That's the thing. Like, good for the Union. Like, I'm excited that they're, have a chance to, play for the play, almost for the championship and all that. It's just soccer's not my thing. I just can't get into it. It's either going to be a great series or a god-awful, ugly series. I hope it's the first one. Astros know how to play at a legendary Yankee Stadium in the postseason. It's crazy. Every time he says that you have to win one of these two games, they will win both of them. Now that he said the last time, you said that the Phillies swept at home and made the World Series. This series is pretty much David and Goliath. So, that's going to do it for tonight, everyone. Thank you for joining the streams as always. Do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'd like to see those. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. Don't forget to check out everything in the description down below. BrodesMedia Painted Lines. I recommend all that stuff. Also, hit the subscribe button. It goes a very long way. Join the TTP Sports family. Join me for all this World Series coverage from games 1 to 7 if it goes that far. Can't believe it. And also, don't forget to use the code TTP Sports. $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Use it for anything you can think of. Use it for anything that can happen. Anything that you think of. It's a great deal and pass it up. So, thank you for joining tonight, everyone. And I will see you next time.